Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ground and Pound Podcast, a show where, as always, we're hitting you with them elbows of knowledge. And UFC London is right around the corner. Murphy taking on Evloev in the main event. And as always, your boys here on the Ground and Pound Podcast are going to break the whole thing down, starting off in the early prelims, heading to the main event. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Carlos. What's happening, Carlos?
Absolutely nothing, brother.
I know Carlos can't wait to talk about the boys over from across the pond, so we're going to dive right in here to the early prelim opener of Mario Pinto taking on Felipe Franco. Felipe Franco, usually a 205er, stepping in at heavyweight. What do you think about this one, Carlos?
I think this is all Pinto. I mean, he's big, he's quick, he's tall, he's got the reach, he's got snapping punches. Doesn't have a lot of he has a lead hook that he throws, and it doesn't look like he puts a lot of power into it, like a lot of his body into it, but he ends up snapping people's head backs when he hits them. So he's very dangerous. Franco, I have a hard time with him getting this done. Number one, he's going to move up in weight. Not that he's a small guy. I'm sure he's big enough to fight in this weight class at heavyweight. Probably took it a short notice or something. I don't know what it is, just to stay busy. But I think the fact that he had such a sloppy fight against Freddie Vidal, a guy who was pretty much like gassed in that fight and ended up losing by rear naked choke. I don't see him getting by Pinto. Pinto is a little too sharp on the feet. He's a little patient, sometimes a little too patient, where there's not a lot of volume coming from him. But when he decides to unload, nice snapping punches. They're long, good straights, throws a nice little lead hook at the end. And I don't see how Franco is going to get him down and go to work, because even if he does, Pinto does have good ground game, and he's not one of those regular heavyweights where once he's down, he's a turtle. He can move, he can get off his back, and he can do a lot of damage if he's on top. So Pinto to get it done.
Yeah, Pinto should have Franco pretty much wherever he wants him in this one. I've been impressed with Mario Pinto. He's a nice addition to the heavyweight division here in the UFC. Obviously 11-0, undefeated at this point. And we saw in his last fight against Junata Denise that he surprised some people, kind of mixing in some grappling, showing that he's got levels to his game. He can, duck underneath and get the level change and look good on top, beating people up with ground and pound. And we saw, obviously, against Austin Lane that, he did come out a little bit slow. He was a little bit nervous. He admitted in his UFC debut, was able to still come back there and get the knockout. And I think with Franco, I think it's a difficult read with him. He is a good athlete, but I don't think he's a good fighter. I think that's kind of how I break him down here to me. Felipe Franco obviously did, lose against Vidal, like Carlos mentioned, on Contender Series. In that fight, he came out pretty aggressive early, looking for the takedown. He was able to get a few nice sort of slam takedowns. Ultimately, Freddie Vidal was able to get back up and ultimately get back to his feet. And like Carlos said, was able to get the finish there on Franco. Since then, he's gone on to the regional scene again, was able to get 2 stoppages on the ground. And I just don't really see how he's going to be able to incorporate that ground game and that athleticism against Pinto. Unless he's able to beat him to the punch and land a big right hand, I think that's the only path to victory here. Just landing a big bomb as a guy that, does carry power and is athletic, especially early in fights. I think if Pinto wants to kind of zap some of that away with the wrestling, I think that would be a wise game plan here. Take away some of the power and the athleticism of Franco and ultimately beat him up on the ground, just like you did with Junata Denise. And ultimately here, I think if this one does stay standing, I think Pinto is definitely measured enough, carries enough power, and definitely has enough on the feet to be able to test Franco here and get the knockout. So give me Mario Pinto here to get this one done in front of the London crowd.